JB and Darren on the JB and Goldwater Show.
Line drive right field, base hit. South Carolina wins the College World Series. Watson, touchdown. Hunter Renfrow. He got him, and it's all over. Coastal Carolina rules the roost. They win the championship. And South Carolina has won the national championship.
The Senegal baseball team has done it again, but this time the Bulldogs beat one of the top teams in the country. They are giant killers. Get the ball at Bennett. He does.
Gamecocks are in the Final Four.
All right, greetings and a good Friday afternoon, and welcome aboard the JB and Goldwater Show, live, loud, and online, and driven by our friends and yours at Stokes Volkswagen. Find them at stokesvw.com. Find us on the JB and Goldwater app. You can download that in your phone. It's free, and you can watch and listen to our program daily. And if you miss anything, you can always go back and check us out there as well. Also at jbandgoldwatershow.com, and also across all social media platforms at JB and Goldwater individually, at Sports Media JB, and at Darren Goldwater. 843-321-8893 is our text line and our phone number, and we certainly appreciate those that use that. You can always get a hold of us as well through whatever platform you're paying attention on, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever. Pop us a message, and Darren will pop it up on the screen and make it a part of our conversation. And we have a few conversations to have today. We do every day, if you haven't noticed. But Raphael Esparza will join us at 12:30 from Vegas. Looking forward to speaking with our friend from mybookie.ag. It is the final few days of the College World Series. Certainly going to mix that into the conversation amongst some other things. Might even get to some college football in there, and maybe talk to him about that FIFA stuff that's going on. Meredith Taylor or whatever. Meredith Taylor is at 105 today. Yes, that talented Meredith Taylor, the former incredible golf star at the University of South Carolina. She joined us for a couple of days with Scott Glaze as part of our coverage of this year's PGA Championship. Known her a long time. This weekend, she's headed to Atlanta. She's also on the board of the George Rogers Foundation. So we're going to talk about that event. We did speak to Mike Yuva earlier this week. He's going to MC, I guess you call it MC, Darren.
Host, MC, lead, whatever.
Yeah. The conversation between coaches, special attendees, George Rogers, Steve Spurrier, all them. He's basically going to navigate himself through that somehow. I don't know. With all of those different personalities up on that stage, he'll probably have some fun. But Meredith is going to be there. She knows all of them. And here's what she also knows: how they play on the golf course. That's what I care about. The George Rogers Foundation, of course, does fund first-time college students and their opportunities to be able to go to college and be able to afford to do that. So it's a wonderful foundation in the funds that they raise for so many great people. But the golf tournament that comes with it is where you get some of the stories. And Meredith has played with and seen many of them play. So we'll talk to her. We'll have a fun conversation at 1 o'clock. And then at about 1:30 today, Skylar Meade will join us. We know that the Gamecocks are not in Omaha, but hopefully they will be next year. He'll be tied up and won't be able to talk to us. He is out on the road recruiting, but we'll also get his take on this because Texas, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, and NC State are the Final Four, if you will, in college baseball. We're going to get to that in a minute, and I'm going to tell you why you probably should have expected those four to be those still standing here in late June. So we got that and a bunch of other stuff. We've got our buy and sell segment coming up. We'll get to our 2-minute drill in just a moment. But first, after rambling on for 5 minutes, good afternoon, Darren.
Let's start today with hockey. I don't know if we've talked NHL in a year and however many months on this show. and I'm not going to go deep into it, but the
Okay.
Canadians are into the finals for the first time in 28 years. That Canada's got a team in the finals. That's pretty cool. So I'm rooting for Montreal. I won't watch a second, I don't think. And the Nationals are on fire. Schwarber, everything he touches is launched to the moon. He's got 12 homers in his last 13 games. He's tied for third most leadoff homers in Nationals history because of his last 13 games alone. And the Nationals, speaking of alone, are alone in second place. Happy Friday.
Well, you're right, though. They are on fire. Braves lost last night. We'll get there in a minute, but the Nationals are on fire. And what Schwarber's doing is unseen, unheard.
The announcers are at the point of laughing. I mean, it's crack of the bat, and you're kidding. There it goes again. That's the point this has reached, because it's. I mean, he hit another leadoff homer last night, and then another bomb 420 feet to center. He's on fire.
It really is. It's been something to see. If people haven't been paying attention to that, baseball's had a lot of great storylines. By the way, there was a no-hitter last night. We're going to tell you about that and the historical significance of it here in just a moment. But yeah, there are a lot of storylines across baseball that again, I continue to think Major League Baseball has just failed in marketing themselves with some of what's going on out there. So, but we'll get to that. South Carolina is having a nice little run right now of commitments. I do know who they all are. I cannot say who they all are, but I do know who they all are. So we'll kind of fuss and discuss some of that in just a minute, and an interesting note on transfers as well. But first, as we do on Fridays, our 2-minute drill. The College World Series, this is like their banner day. NC State and Vanderbilt at 2 o'clock on ESPN2. NC State is in the catbird seat, my friends. If they can beat the Commodores again, they're in the championship series, which will start on Monday night at 7 o'clock. If they fall, they'll play again tomorrow at 2 o'clock. We'll see. Jack Leiter's expected to go for Vandy this afternoon. Tonight, Mississippi State, they're also in the driver's seat. They've got the Longhorns of Texas, 7 o'clock on ESPN. Hail State, go Scott Foxhall, and go Chris Lemonis. If they win, they're in the championship series. If they lose, 7 o'clock Saturday night on ESPN2, if necessary. It was a late one last night. If you stayed up, good for you. But they didn't get going until almost 11 o'clock last night. The final score was 6-2, Texas over Virginia. Mark Kingston has received a 2-year extension through 2025. Details on that coming in a moment at South Carolina. As I mentioned, the Cubs threw a no-hitter last night. Their first combined no-hitter in franchise history. 4 arms did it. 4-0 win over the Dodgers. The 17th no-hitter, though, ever in Chicago history. Also, the 20th time ever that the Dodgers have been no-hit. That's the most in the big leagues. 7 no-hitters in baseball this year, the most ever before July 1, and tied for the most in a season since 1900. LSU has hired Jay Johnson. We'll talk about that in a moment as well. He's coming from Arizona. And Nebraska is looking for a new athletics director. Bill Moose will retire on June the 30th. That's what they say. That is Friday's 2-minute drill. Let me give you the details of Mark Kingston's contract extension at South Carolina. This is new news. It came out about, 30, 45 minutes ago is when I got my email at least. Mark, so there's no raise. I'm going to look to my right so I can make sure that I read this correctly here. But there is no raise on the table for Mark, only an extension as the head coach of Gamecock baseball. However, it did change buyout figures. Originally, Carolina owed Mark Kingston $1.4 million this year, $800,000 next year, and $400,000 the year after, which would be 2023 if they were to fire him. But the extension reverted the contract back to its original figures, which now, if Mark Kingston is fired after next year, South Carolina would owe him $2.2 million. So, that's a significant deal for Mark. He has, once again, some job security in major financial figures as the head coach of the Gamecocks. Now, if he were to leave on his own, if he left after next year, he would owe South Carolina $1.4 million. Then, of course, it would decrease therein after that. So, of course, he went to the regional this year as the head coach, did go to a super in his first season back in 2018. 2019 was not a good year. 2020 didn't happen. So that is where it stands for Mark Kingston, but he is still on that $600,000 a year deal as the head man at Carolina. Other deals that were also finalized up in Columbia, Tony Annan, who's been recently hired as the new soccer coach of the Gamecocks, now on a 4-year contract worth $172,854 per year. Curtis Fry is now the longest tenured coach on USC's campus. It'll be his 26th season as the head coach of the track and field team. His contract was extended 1 year, no salary increase. He does make about $250,000 a year at $250,000. And 2 assistants on Dawn Staley's staff, they were also taken care of. Lisa Boyer, who's been there forever, was extended a year at $300,000, and assistant coach Gillette Law was extended 1 year at $275,000. All that this morning in the Board of Trustees meeting. But again, probably the major news for most Gamecock fans has to do with Mark Kingston being extended. So, I've already had somebody send me a message and say, do you think that was a good thing? Yeah, it was a good thing. Are you kidding me? They're trying to recruit and rebuild a program. Of course, they absolutely needed to extend him. It was the right move.
If you don't extend him, then you're out there recruiting with a contract that dies in 2 years. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. You can't recruit. They had to extend him. It caught my eye that there's no raise. Typically, now maybe I'm wrong on this, but typically a raise comes along with an extension. Now the buyout in there, that makes it harder for South Carolina to fire Kingston after next year. Maybe that's some type of a appeasement between both sides. But I think it tells you a little bit about the thinking and the process in the athletic department, saying, okay, we're giving you the extra couple of years that you need to go out and recruit, but we're not sitting here saying everything's honky-dory. Keep going in the right direction. We'll allow you to keep going in the right direction, but we're not throwing the moon at you right now.
Yeah, absolutely. That is certainly a part of it. The other part of it is South Carolina is being loaned millions of dollars from the school itself. And I know that there are some raises in there, but I personally don't know that Mark maybe at this point in time is even worthy of a significant raise. You're going to need to do more than that at South Carolina, but if he was, I don't know that he would get it simply because of the financial crunch that they're in and trying to come out of this over the next couple of years, which they will do. Mm-hmm. And if Carolina baseball at that point in time is rocking and rolling, then there you go. There's some more cash headed Mark Kingston's way more than likely. But yes, it was certainly the right move to extend Mark. So he will continue to hang on at Carolina. Jay Johnson will get his start at LSU. He has now been hired. It's almost official from Arizona, one of what seemingly was 3 finalists. Link Jarrett at Notre Dame and Cliff Godwin at East Carolina, the others. And so they're going to go with the guy who's been to Omaha a few times with the Wildcats program, and that is, of course, Jay Johnson. It's an interesting hire. He's a West Coast guy, not an SEC guy, but that matters and doesn't matter. He's coveted the job. Mark Kingston wasn't really an SEC guy, and so it's not like this league hires from within in baseball all the time. That's just not true. But Jay Johnson, I like the hire. I really do. I'm interested to see what happens at Arizona. Arizona's a great job. So what happens there? Does Link now stay put at Notre Dame, or was he coveting this job because it's LSU? Or is Link Jarrett just coveting the next major step? Notre Dame is not an elite baseball job. It's a great job, but it's not one of the elites. But what he's done has been fairly elite in South Bend. So keep our eyes on him. Cliff Godwin as well. I mean, I'm kind of surprised he's still at East Carolina. And I thought this might be the perfect opportunity for him to step into the spotlight. But as we talked yesterday with Mike Morgan about, if you make that big jump, Cliff Godwin's going to continue to be successful at ECU. Successful at LSU is not getting to the Super Regional every year. That's just not it. Like, you got to win a national championship at some point, and you got to make some trips to Omaha. So if you don't, you're not a success. And then what does that do for your career? I obviously Cliff Godwin wanted the job, but maybe it's a blessing in disguise for him that he didn't get it. And maybe there's another one out there that'll suit him a little bit better. But there's some really good coaches, Darren, in this country in college baseball that are probably going to get that next step opportunity. One's going to get it soon here out at Arizona.
Yeah, one's going to Arizona. So a couple of things on it. This is the first ever Pac-12 head baseball coach that has left the Pac-12 program and taken a head job in the SEC. That surprised me a little bit.
Yeah.
The reason it happened, and I'm going off a Baseball America article here, it's twofold. And I'll start with recruiting. Arizona, in the first 15 years of Baseball America's recruiting rankings, never ranked in the top 25. The last 5 years, Johnson has had them in the top 25. He has also taken the team to the College World Series twice in 6 years. Now, he did miss the postseason twice in a row as well, in 18 and 19, I believe, and then got back to Omaha. But he's been there twice, and that was a big thing when we were talking with Mike Morgan yesterday. Is LSU comfortable hiring someone without experience getting a team to Omaha? Because that's a quick fan base reaction of, you hired a guy that's never been there, and that's all that we expect. So maybe that's the reason Johnson had the leg up over Godwin, who I thought may have been the favorite amongst those final three.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, LSU knows what it takes in a head coach to be successful at LSU. They know exactly what it takes. And Skip Bertman, he knows what it takes. And Paul Maneri knows what it takes. And Smoke Laval knows what it takes, even though it didn't work out for Smoke Laval down on the Bayou. But that's a program that they get it. They understand what type of person should be successful there. And I think that Jay Johnson is going to step right in and be pretty good. I mean, you think about the SEC West now. So Jay Johnson comes from Arizona. Schlossnagle leaves TCU in the Big 12 to go to A&M. The best coaches in the country outside of the SEC, Darren, not all of them, but some of the most high-profile names out there are coming to the SEC. Why is that? Well, it's a damn good league, but the resources, man. I'm not saying that TCU and Arizona don't have resources. We all know that they do. We all know that they go to Omaha. We all know that Arizona's won national championships. I get it. But seemingly in this league, they turn the page quicker resource-wise for college baseball than any other league does. All you have to do is look around and see it. And that's not to discredit anybody else. I'm not. I'm just saying there's more money in the league, and they're more willing to spend more money on baseball than anywhere else. And you generally don't hear no when you ask for something in the SEC and college baseball. You just don't. So, the country recognizes it. The best coaches recognize. I mean, Jay Johnson, it's not like he was in a bad spot. He's in Arizona, for goodness sakes. Schlossnagle, he's staying in the state. He's still going to recruit the same kids. It's not like he needs a brand new opportunity. He was at TCU. I mean, but he's coming to A&M, who's pretty much in the middle of a little bit of a rebuild. But the allure of the SEC is so strong, and and they pay you a lot of money. I mean, it is. I know some folks don't like hearing that, but it's true.
And it's different for all jobs. The LSU job, the allure is there, but the fear is there also. Mike Morgan, again, referencing this our conversation yesterday, pointed out what I think a lot of people probably realized, that O'Sullivan was the number one target for the job. And according to Morgan's sources, it was, there's no way Sully's turning us down. Well, he did. Then Bianco, no way Bianco's turning us down. Well, he did. Then it was O'Connor at Virginia. No way, man. This is our guy. Then he did. So while there are LSU facility advancements and facility advantages and league advantages, there's also a lot to be said about being the king of your town and not going to a place where that pressure is unrealistic is a very fair way to put it. I mean, it's Omaha or bust every single year. So it's very easy to say, you know what? If I'm Virginia, I've won the World Series in the last 6-7 years. I just got back to Omaha. I like Charlottesville. It's an awesome town. I've personally been there. It's great.
Yeah.
Why do I want LSU? It's harder for me to get to Omaha than it is right now at Virginia. And you could say similar things maybe about Bianco, although it's not harder at LSU than it is for Bianco now. And it's harder for O'Sullivan if he went to LSU because it's easier path in the East right now.
Well, that's great. That's a great point. I want to, I think you bring a couple of interesting little tidbits up there. One, you don't really see SEC coaches bouncing to SEC jobs in college baseball because in this league, every school, maybe with the exception of one or two here and there, maybe Missouri, maybe, but every school is totally invested in baseball. I mean, they just are. So Mike Bianco, doesn't need LSU. Kevin O'Sullivan didn't need South Carolina, and he doesn't need LSU. That should tell you all you need to know. But you also, and I think it's fair, and I'm glad you did that because it corrects my snobbery a little bit. There are not all of them, but there are some ACC jobs that you just don't need to leave. I mean, Brian O'Connor has done a fantastic job in Virginia. It's a coveted job. Obviously, it fits him perfect. I'm not going to go as far as to say as Virginia is one of the top jobs in the country, but it is a great, great job. I'd say it's a better job than Notre Dame.
And they're rolling. I mean, that's a World Series championship, right. Another Omaha appearance in less than a decade.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's there. There's no reason to expect Clemson. Like if you're Monty Lee, which I know that they didn't have the year that they wanted to have, but when you're doing well at Clemson, you don't need to leave Clemson. Why? Where are you going to go that's going to care as much about baseball as they do at Clemson? Nowhere. Same thing at Florida State. It's the same reason that Dan McDonnell has opted to not leave Louisville. I mean, I think that some think that, I saw it last week. Well, why was Dan McDonnell not a finalist at Louisville? Mike Morgan said it yesterday. We echoed the comments, but he was about to bust it because he didn't want the job. Why would he? Why would he? What is going to be significantly different for him in being successful as a head baseball coach at this level that he's not going to get at Louisville? Nothing. So, there are some of those jobs out there. I mean, SEC jobs are incredibly coveted, and that's why some of the top coaches in the country, like Link Jarrett and Jay Johnson and Jim Schlossnagle, and these guys want to be in the league. But then some of the other best coaches in the country, even outside of the SEC, more so though in the Atlantic Coast Conference, again, region guys, think about it for a second. They don't need to go anywhere.
Yeah. So, and I don't know if you just said Elliott Avent as well in that.
I did not, but that's a good point.
Yeah, but there's another one, right? Because the path to a championship, heck, the path to the College World Series is easier in the SEC than it is in the ACC right now. That is the way that it is. And if you've got a job and a program that's already invested, an athletic department that's invested, then there isn't a huge allure to jump to the busiest or the tightest of pressure cookers there is. Now, maybe Avent is interested in a mid-level or anything lower than, a Mississippi State, LSU type job in the SEC, maybe, but who knows, right? And I do think Link Jarrett at some point, history suggests if he has success, he'll jump Notre Dame. Seems to be a good jumping point.
He will. Yeah, he will. He won't be there forever. I mean, I and that's no offense to Notre Dame, and they have some really good spotty history in baseball, but yeah, he's not going to be there forever. I mean, look what
at the stadium that you just saw in the regionals when they're hitting bombs a million miles away, right? But look at the stadium. That tells you all you need to know about why a coach would leave there and the amount of fans that are at that stadium.
Yeah, and that's the thing, fan commitment in this league, and it's and obviously all across the country and things like that. But I mean, I know that Oregon. Wow, what a great job Oregon is. Yeah, it is a great job. You have all the resources in the world. You have all the money. You don't have the fan base. The passion is just not there. It just isn't. But everything that you could possibly need or want is here in the Southeastern Conference, and that's why a lot of these coaches do what they do. And again, Florida State, Clemson, Louisville. I admitted North Carolina. I'm not a big fan of North Carolina's fan base, but from a resource standpoint, you got everything you need up there. All you got to do is look at their history. I mean, Notre Dame is generally a program that's continuing to be in Omaha. So they weren't this year, but generally they are. I'll be honest with you. I like the NC State job more than the North Carolina job because I like the passion of the Wolfpack fan base more, but that's for another day. All right. Again, as I mentioned, it has been hot and heavy in Columbia for the last couple of days. Gamecocks reeling in some commitments. and it might not be done before the weekend is over. I personally know who they are. Again, it is not my the only reason I'm even addressing this is because I've had some questions about it. We'll never, ever, ever, ever say a young man's name until after he has declared what he is intending to do. But for South Carolina fans, I think that first of all, when you look up in a couple of weeks, the recruiting rankings will be more along the lines where Carolina fans are used to, probably in the top 25, and maybe even a little bit higher than that. And then I think they'll also be happy that they're doing what they can, especially coming off of just 6 wins in 2 years in this state. So that's a good thing. And I think I would also say that there's probably going to be more information down the line about some of these young men that are going to eventually wear the garnet and black. And so I would ask folks to be patient on that, but in a good way. I mean that in a good way. So it should be a good weekend up there, and we'll continue to kind of monitor that as well. Speaking of college football, just 25%. Hear me out here. This is really, you got to listen to every word I'm saying, but this is really pretty remarkable. Just 25% of Power 5 transfers have landed at Power 5 schools. That's it. A quarter of them have landed at Power 5 schools. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that every transfer from a Power 5 school, Darren, as we know, is intending to transfer to a Power 5 school. I would venture a guess that the large majority of them are hoping to do that. But there might be some who maybe aren't, they just want to play, and they understand that that level is just not where they need to be. Let's also remember a couple of things here. In the transfer portal, and it's not like it's a majority, but you have long snappers and, things like that, okay? So, these are generally walk-on guys who go to a Power 5 school, and they play on the scout team for 3 years, and they decide, well, I want to go actually snap the football somewhere, and then they transfer. So those numbers are maybe a little bit skewed, but at the end of the day, it's still only a quarter that are landing at Power 5 schools. So as you and I discussed a couple of months ago, maybe even longer than that, when the transfer portal started becoming popular, I kind of made mention that I thought it would be very popular. It will continue to be, but the numbers eventually will level themselves out, because players will begin to realize, the grass is just not always greener on the other side. They don't have a guarantee of going somewhere and playing. All of these schools, every one of them, when a kid leaves, they're going to replace you. Like, you're going to be replaced. It doesn't. Maybe the kid that they're replacing you with isn't as good, or maybe he's better. I don't know. But guess what? There will be somebody in that number. So you are replaceable from a body standpoint. It might not work out if you try to leave. So I think over time, Darren, some of that will start to kind of mellow itself out. But that is a pretty powerful number, because, the season starts in a little over 2 months.
I think it's going to take a long time for that whole thing to level out, because it's a lot easier for a team to replace you when you leave than it is for you to go find another Power 5 home. There's only so many Power 5 schools that are out there. There are fewer that you would be interested in for a variety of reasons. They're the pool of guys to replace you. Let's just forget the team that you're leaving. Every other guy in the portal who plays your position is also a part of that pool to replace you that you're competing. So it's a lot easier for a school to fill that need. But still, the guys, I'd like to see the breakdown of maybe the recruiting ranking, and this is a deep dive that I don't even know if we are capable of doing, but maybe somebody else can, of the stars, the recruiting ranking stars. If you're a former 3 or 4 star and you hit the portal, what is your percentage chance of going to another Power 5 school? If you're a 1 or 2 star and you've been in the Power 5 and you hit the portal, what's your percentage chance of landing at a Power 5 via a group of 5? Because my guess is there's a correlation there, because the sense of, hey man, I'm good enough to play. This proves it. But I get here, I'm not getting my playing time. I look over, like, my thought when I was coming out of high school, Penn State's no good in baseball. I go to Penn State, I can walk on. Well, they were no good in baseball. They're all better than I was. So the thought process is very similar to that. There's an opportunity there, but you're just not good enough.
Yeah, I mean it's an education moment for many of these young men. It's something that is going to continue to evolve. And let's also add this in too, like just because you transfer from a Power 5 school doesn't mean that if you don't land at another Power 5 school, you failed. I mean, let me ask you a question. If you're Darren Goldwater, it doesn't matter what star you are or anything like that, and you're just not getting a lot of playing time at NC State, and you're going to transfer, and the two programs that are really coming after you hard, and if I commit to them, I can step right in and play, and it's going to be the perfect situation for me personally. And those two schools are Kansas and Central Florida. Where are you going? Central Florida.
Going to Central Florida,
exactly. Right, but they're not Power 5, so you know what I mean.
No, they're not, but yeah.
But you see what I'm getting at.
That's a pretty extreme example, but yes, I see what you're saying there.
I mean, but that's happening. I mean, those things are happening. Like, do you want to go to Coastal Carolina, or do you want to go to Washington State when you're from Durham, North Carolina?
Location matters, right? Location absolutely matters there, and then
right.
And
everybody's situation is a little different.
Yeah, and keep in mind though, if you're using the Central Florida and the Coastal Carolina example, and I'm transferring, it could very well be much more likely that I have a spot at Kansas than I do at Coastal or Central Florida. So using those two examples, it's like those two schools are probably harder for me to get to than Kansas.
Yeah, exactly. I think the numbers are what they are. I would venture a strong guess here that it's a mixed bag of whys. You know what I mean? The why only a quarter of P5s are ending at P5s. But at the end of the day, it's nowhere close to, well, if you're a Power 5 player, you're just a Power 5 player. That's just not true. Like some guys they sign and they're in Power 5 programs, and then coaches are like, this kid shouldn't be here. And then he goes and says, I'm transferring. They go, thank God.
Yeah.
Now we got a scholarship. That's happening. And these kids think that they're somebody that they're not. So again, the school isn't always going to win in these transfer situations, but a lot of the times they are. And a lot of times, like, just because of how it's been painted and how a lot of us seem to see this at this point in time, as time goes on, I think our opinions may evolve a little bit, but as it at least stands today, you hear about a young man transferring from your program and you think, why? What's wrong? Why is he leaving? What's wrong? Well, he just might not actually be that good too. You know what I mean? So it might be, it might be addition by subtraction. We don't ever really truly know, but here's what we do know. The numbers are what they are. And there's probably a lot of kids out there who think, well, screw this guy. I should be playing. I'm out of here. And then they're sitting here in July going, holy crap, I don't have anywhere to play. Whoops. Hey, coach, can I come back? No.
The majority of kids that are doing it are kids who aren't getting the playing time that they expected. The ones who are getting playing time, they're in there. There are those who are disgruntled for whatever reason. They want to transfer, put a reason out there. That's fine. The majority are the ones who say, oh, I'm better than this. I'm going to go over there. And that's when you run into that wall instead of green grass.
Yeah, or coaching changes. Gamecocks just had a bunch of turnover in Columbia. All right, start your weekend off right with a cheesesteak at DB's Cheesesteaks, or just have them deliver it. DB'sCheesesteaks.com. Check out their entire menu. Check it out. Do it right now. I dare you to find a hot dog that's bigger and better than that. And they'll deliver it to you as well. They also have some really sweet cheeseburgers if you're not a big cheesesteak fan. But why the hell would you go to a cheesesteak place if you don't like cheesesteaks? But you can try something different on the menu if you haven't. They got great hoagies and stuff like that. They've got I always love a place that has a great selection of chips, not just like the original Lay's and the sour cream and onion and stuff like that. They have unique stuff, like Parmesan and dill pickle combined into one bag. It tastes phenomenal. So find them.
That's not something I would like. But the jalapeno chips, regular Doritos, those are money.
Yeah, absolutely. Jalapeno with soy sauce. No, I'm just kidding. But they have a bunch of different, you might laugh when I say that. They actually do. They have all these random chip bags I've never seen before. but they also have the buffalo chicken cheesesteak, and that's what I eat at DB's. DB'sCheesesteaks.com. Meredith Taylor is going to tell you how good of a golfer Steve Spurrier, George Rogers, and others are at 1:05 this afternoon. I can't wait to have this conversation with one of our favorite people in the world. Skylar Meade will join us at 1:30 this afternoon. He's on the road recruiting for Gamecock baseball. But coming up next, we fly west, way west. That's Vegas, where Raphael Esparza joins us with mybookie.ag.
This is Mike Mazzell for Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate Road with exciting news. It's springtime and we're playing ball. Most dealerships don't have any inventory, but at Stokes Volkswagen we do. So we're playing ball on every new Volkswagen in stock. Every new Volkswagen available with zero down. Qualified buyers can sign and drive with interest-free financing for 60 months. Remember, Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate Road is the fastest, easiest way to sell your car and get the most money for your trade. Plus, we'll take any trade in any condition, paid off or not. Is your credit in a slump?
Strike two.
If you've got $500 down and you make at least $2,000 per month, our lenders can get you approved. So if you want to strike out, that's okay. But if you want to hit a home run and save on a new Volkswagen, come see us today at Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate Road or StokesVW.com.
$1,666 per month per $1,000 borrowed for 60 months at 0% APR with zero down plus tax tag. Includes $499.50 administration fee. Subject to VCI credit approval. Expires month end.
Peace and love at Stokes Speed Up.
Wando Power Equipment, the trusted home of Hustler zero-turn residential and commercial mowers. There is nobody more trusted in South Carolina than our friends from Wando Power Equipment. They've been providing elite commercial and residential service for over 30 years. Landscape Services have turned to their selection of Hustler zero-turn mowers like the Raptor. Bigger, stronger, faster, and the most durable Raptor Hustler has ever designed. Located on Daniel Island and online at wandopower.com. Wando Power Equipment, owned by the Price family, the home of Hustler zero-turn mowers, rentals, service, and specializing in family and friendship.
Shrimping season's back. That means local caught shrimp. That's right. Local caught shrimp back on the menu at the Dog and Duck. All three locations, Bell Hall, Park West, and Clements Ferry Road, now featuring once again local caught hand-breaded shrimp, plus other daily specials like the Game Day Burger every Wednesday, Rib Night on Friday, rotating taps all the time, and all the TVs you can possibly imagine for whatever you want to watch. The Dog and Duck in Bell Hall, Park West, and on Clements Ferry Road.
The JB and Goldwater Show, live, loud, and online.
I'm gonna keep on the run. I'm gonna have me some fun. It cost me my very last time. If I wind up broke, well, I'll always
12:38 Friday afternoon. The final Friday in June. How about that? It came and went just like that. JB and Goldwater Show driven by Stokes Volkswagen, JB, Darren, and Raphael Esparza in Vegas. Hey, brother.
How's it going?
How are you?
Doing well. Just packing up some of my office. I actually moving some of my stuff to the Crescent City as I bought a place in the French Quarter, as I will be doing a little stuff for sports gambling now that it's going to be in Louisiana, hopefully by football season. So I'll be setting up some stuff for Champion Square. I think there's going to be a sports book / bar there. So I'm going to be doing some stuff over there. So it should be interesting.
Can you expand on that and tell us a little bit more about what you'll be doing?
I can't fully expand on it yet.
Okay, all right.
But it's should be interesting. I've been born and raised under Chicago, Illinois politics, and New Orleans, Louisiana politics is probably up there. It was one of the worst that I've seen. So they say they're going to try to have sports gambling by football season. I'm sorry, I don't see it, but I still got a plan for it since the checks have cleared and the wife has spent it. So I need to which I'm fun. My wife's a photographer, so she has a lot of work in the South and New Orleans area. So it's going to be kind of cool to have a place in the French Quarter that I can go there and have a cool office as well.
That will be very, very cool. I will. Let's see. When is the next time that Carolina goes to LSU? Well, per SEC scheduling guidelines, probably 2050. Will you still be around then?
Probably not.
Oh, okay. Me neither, maybe. Yeah, I know.
The way my ticker is, probably not.
Well, we hope that's not true. That's not.
It's. I tell my wife that's why we have good good payments and stuff like that. If I go sailing, I tell her she can only mourn for a month and she can move on.
Well, if you're worried about the ticker, the South and in particular places like Louisiana, probably not the best spot for you.
No, trying to find low sodium stuff in New Orleans it's very hard to do. But
yeah,
luckily I don't eat that bad, so I'll be okay.
50% sign-up bonus on your first $1,000 up to your first $1,000 deposit if you've never done it. MyBookie.ag is where you can follow along with us and Raphael Esparza. Before we get to college baseball, Luke, we see your question. We got it coming. Hang tight. Have either one of you seen the video of the Mexican Baseball League, the guy that got plunked and he ran to the mound and threw his bat at the pitcher?
I saw a still shot of it. I didn't actually see the video. Did he hit
that baseball brawl, I think, took 15 to 20 minutes. I mean, they were chasing each other all through the third baseline. Some fights were going into left field. I mean,
dude.
They know how to fight brawls there. Not like, hey, let's hug, let's go talk to a former teammate of mine. And
No. This guy, I don't know, is well, what is his name? Peter O'Brien? That can't be his name, is it?
There could be. Justin Smoke was playing in Japan.
Yeah. Justin Smoke was in Japan.
Oh, no. Gabriel Gutierrez is who
I think we're related.
Who the hitter was.
That sounds like it.
And the pitcher was Peter O'Brien. Okay. No, I can't read Spanish, so I'm trying to pick and choose a couple of words here. I didn't mean that it couldn't be because he has an American name. I meant because I was reading where the pitcher and some of these other words that I'm piecing together here were in this this little tweet, basically. So I'm like, well, now wait a second. So it looks like Peter O'Brien plunked Gabriel Gutierrez, and Gabriel Gutierrez was having none of it. Luckily, he missed with the bat and the helmet. But, nonetheless. All right. Well, hopefully we don't see that tonight. We did see an ejection, though, already in the College World Series because that jackass of a third base umpire threw out the assistant for Tennessee over slamming his clipboard on the railing. I don't know what he said down there, but goodness gracious.
I know what he said afterwards.
Yeah, I do too.
That was very clear what he said afterwards.
Meet you for a burger after the game. Is that what he said afterwards?
Yeah, he was calling him some polite words.
Yeah, I'm sure he was. He should have called him unpolite words. I mean, that was ridiculous, man. It's a College World Series. Get over yourself. But he got thrown out of the game. So, hey, what's the worst ejection you've ever seen, Raphael? By the way, I know that you're mourning that you're all fired up over the no hitter from the Cubs last night against the Dodgers. I know I can see the excitement, so we'll get to that in a minute. But just top of mind, what's the wildest ejection you've ever seen?
I've seen a lot. I would think the worst one I've ever saw, and I'm aging myself right here, was Mark Grace was playing first base for the Cubs, and they just got done brawling against Arizona. The benches were clear, and then they threw the first pitch, and I guess Mark Grace said something to the guy that got plunked, and then he got tossed out. Like there was like nothing. He just they show him on TV laughing. Then he said something to the guy that got plunked. I can't remember who it was, and he got tossed. So I think that was the most weird one. That not even punches, pushes. You could just see they were laughing at first, and Mark Grace said something. You can see the reaction, what the guy thought he said, and then tossed him.
Were you at the game?
Yes, I was actually on the first base line too.
Oh. How about you, Darren?
There's two that stick out in my mind the most. It's number one, George Brett, obviously. And then number two is Joe Mikulik when he was the manager of the Asheville Taurus. And he went ballistic and he got tossed from a single A game. Those are the two that always stand out to me when I'm thinking baseball ejections.
Pro ejections. I don't know if I've seen a pro ejection that stands out like in person. See, I mean, the best one I ever saw.
I didn't see those in person.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, if it's in person, no doubt Jim Toman, but that's college baseball. back in 07 when he got tossed in. This was in Columbia. Raphael, this is pretty funny, actually. He literally got tossed out of the game, but the home plate umpire was horrible. I think it was actually, it might have been against, I don't know who it was against, maybe Tennessee. I can't remember. And Toman, who's now the head coach at Middle Tennessee State, was coaching third base, and he said something. I don't know what he said. And they threw him out, and then he threw his hat literally almost from the third base box to where the umpire was standing. He walked down, he got in his face, he kicked dirt all over the plate and covered it up. The crowd got into it. As he walked off the field, he high-fived whoever's coming to hit. I think it was Drew Crisp. None of this means anything to y'all. High-fived him, high-fived the guy on deck, goes into the dugout, throws some balls and bats and stuff up onto the field, comes back out, tips his cap to the crowd, waves at everybody, and walks away. That was great. It was a great.
Gave him a show.
Yeah, baseball ejections are more theatrical.
Yeah, they should be. It's part of the. That's one of the things I hate the most about the replay. Is like now you have to come out and say, can you take a look at it? Back in the day, you come out and go, what the hell are you looking at?
Yeah.
And you get in their face and everything blows up.
I agree.
How about the guy that army crawled behind the pitcher's mouth? What was his name?
Oh, that was some of that stuff was ridiculous. I mean, if you're gonna throw it, I mean, Ricky Henderson taking the base away.
That was good.
Is always one of my favorite ones.
I like that one.
Ricky liked Ricky doing that.
A lot of people, Ricky liked whatever Ricky did. A lot of people are on the whole, if I'm going to get tossed, I'll pick up a base and chuck it.
Yeah.
It was the Braves. Was he a Double-A manager? Did he army crawl behind the?
I think so.
That was awesome. And then he acted like he was throwing a grenade.
I don't even remember that one.
Come on.
I remember that one.
Yeah, dude. If you saw the video, Darren, you would remember it. There's no way you wouldn't remember it. I mean, this thing went on for like 5 minutes. I mean, the guy literally army crawled around the infield. It was something. All right, so let's get to the odds. Sorry about that. MyBookie.ag. This is a great day for college baseball. This is maybe the banner day of the World Series when the 2-0s get to try and punch their ticket. Vanderbilt, NC State, Texas, Mississippi State tonight at 7. Let's start with that 2 o'clock. Jack Leiter, I think, is scheduled to go, as far as I know, for Vandy. NC State is in the catbird seat, though, Raphael. But according to MyBookie.ag, Vandy is minus 1.5. 1.5 run favorites over the Wolfpack.
Yeah, Leiter is going because the game opened up at minus 130. It's minus $2 right now. So either Leiter's going or Jacob deGrom is going for Vanderbilt. One of the two, because for that big of a line movement, the total went from 9.5 to 8.5. So that just tells me that, again, either Leiter's going for Vandy or Jacob deGrom. One of the two, because the way the number moved. And if that's the case, if Leiter is going, it's going to be Vandy. I just don't see NC State doing anything with Leiter, so I will go with Vandy over NC State, even though I'll be rooting for NC State because last time I checked, NC State doesn't play for SEC, so I'll be rooting for the Wolfpack.
Jack Leiter, his teammate Kamar Rocker, and Kevin Kopps at Arkansas finalists for the Golden Spikes Award this year. They certainly should be. Before we get to the nightcap, Mississippi State and Texas, which I'm pulling for Mississippi State, I think Darren is as well because of Chris Lamonis and Scott Foxhall. I opened the program, Darren, and said, I'll tell you why we probably all should have expected these 4 teams to be here. And this will make sense. Raphael, you know baseball inside and out, especially at this level. And Darren, obviously you do just like all of us here. 3 of the best teams in the country, maybe 3 of the 4 best teams in the country are right here. Vanderbilt, Texas, and Mississippi State. I think there's a strong argument to be made that those are 3 of the 4 best teams in the country. The 4th is Arkansas, and they didn't make it. Why? Because NC State is the hottest team in the country. And generally this time of the year, and I'm not saying that they're not really good. They are really good. They're really talented, and they're really damn good. That is the Wolfpack I'm talking about. But generally this time of the year, guys, as you know, in Omaha, once you get these last 4 or 5 teams, the best teams are there. And then maybe 1 or the 2 hottest teams, or the 1 or 2 hottest teams in college baseball. That is no different this year. It's exactly what it looks like.
I agree. That's why it wouldn't shock me if we see an NC State Texas final because the way I'm sorry, Texas State, Mississippi State final, just because the way the betting action is going and the way the media portrays Vanderbilt and Texas. I would not be shocked if you see both dogs win and both dogs, especially you said it, NC State. They're not the best team in the Final Four right now, but they're the hottest team in the Final Four right now, and we've seen it in College World Series. We've seen it in the Frozen Four. We've seen it in the NHL. You ride hot teams, hot goalies, hot bats. That could be NC State. And if this thing goes to -2, I was hoping this would be the 7 o'clock game instead of the 2 o'clock game, because I think we might see this number continue to climb, especially when the TV starts showing a game and the betting public sees it is lighter. This one might get bet all the way up to -230, and I'll be jumping all over the Wolfpack of NC State getting the better number.
It's a great point. Darren has been spot on throughout the week with his analysis that we all are like, yeah, duh, but you need to point it out. It's true. NC State went to Fayetteville, won 2 of 3, and now they are 2-0 in the College World Series, and they already beat Vanderbilt. I mean, they're going through. They're taking the most difficult route to this thing if they get there, and they're just pushing right through it.
I'll say this though. They're making a mistake, Vanderbilt is tonight. I'm surprised they're throwing Leiter and not throwing Rocker, who threw the first game for Vanderbilt. Leiter already threw against NC State. They saw him. Why throw him again against NC State? It's the same logic that we talked about with Kevin Kopps and NC State yesterday. Kopps threw in game 2, started game 3. They had already seen him. They've already seen Leiter, as good as he is. I'd throw Rocker.
I agree.
Well, I don't know what else to tell you.
That's why it's going to be ACC. That's why it's going to be ACC Big 12 in the finals.
Yeah, there you go. So you don't think Mississippi State gets there? They're 1.5. What you have them as the no? You get Texas tonight, 1.5 for them.
I kind of lean towards Texas tonight a little. I just think they're swinging the bats a little bit. I think Texas is probably going to do everything that they can to push a run over first. Small ball, steal. I think if they can get the lead first, whoever scores first, I think in that game, Texas Mississippi State wins the game. And that is a prop bet. You can jump over there and bet that.
It'll be interesting to see how Sims, Landon Sims, the closer for Mississippi State, is handled tonight. Because obviously, if the Bulldogs, all right, here's what I mean by that. We've seen in college baseball this tendency for head coaches to go to their closer early or to even start them. Now, they're not starting Landon Sims tonight. But if they go to him early, how early is too early if you happen to lose and have to play again tomorrow, and then you've burnt your best arm, your closer. Now, in saying that, most of these guys are like, we're going to worry about today, we'll worry about tomorrow, which I think is probably the right way to do it. And if you got a 1-run lead in the 7th inning, and you feel like you need to go to your closer, well, then by God, go to him and try to shut this thing down and not have to get to tomorrow. But that is always something I think that is worthy of paying attention, especially in college baseball, because they do extend their best arms in the back end of the bullpen.
Yes, and last time I checked, I don't think Joe Madden's the head coach, so it's not like he's going to do like we did if the Cubs have Chapman come in the 6th inning and pitch 7th, 8th, 9th inning. But yeah, we're talking about college kids who have their bullpen for all 4 of their teams. Their key bullpen players have had heavy innings already piled up, so it's going to be very interesting. I think Mississippi State's bullpen, I think it's probably been used a little bit more than both 3 teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's one of those guys who can throw a bunch, Sims. So, All right. So you said tonight, Texas, tonight, Vanderbilt. That's you.
Yeah, but again, if this number keeps on climbing, as my betting screen now just moved Vanderbilt to -210, I'm going to wait to see what the best number I can get for NC State, because they're the hottest team. So, yeah, is Vanderbilt the best team? Yes. Are they the hottest team? No. So I'm just, again,
fascinating
for a guy that is going to watch it and can't wait to watch that game. Probably looking for Vanderbilt to win for betting purposes. They're trying to make that a quick buck and fading the public, which the public never wins as much as they say they do on social media. Then I'm going to take NC State.
Oh, all right, there you go. Mississippi State obviously already beat Texas 2-1 earlier in the College World Series. Mississippi State beat Texas. NC State beat Vanderbilt 1-0 earlier. These teams have not been separated by more than a run thus far. So I think today is just going to be a masterful day at the College World Series.
If you like runs, you're not going to see it in these two games, so you might want to watch maybe the Angels Tampa Bay Rays game, because the Angels pitchers bullpen stinks. They always give up a lot of runs. So if you like runs, don't watch College World Series today.
Or like chug a whole bunch of milk and you can watch some runs.
Well, that's true too.
You're welcome.
All right, you got some NHL stuff, some NBA stuff you want to pass along to us as well?
Well, the Golden Knights lost yesterday, but it was good to see Montreal take it. I'm kind of glad that it was Montreal that beat us and not Colorado. So it's kind of fun to see the Habs go in there. I'm hoping to see a Habs Lightning. But it's Game 7. There's nothing better in sports than a Game 7, and I said this before, than a Game 7 in the NHL. I don't care if it's a Game 7 in baseball, Game 7 in NBA. Game 7 in the NHL probably gives you the biggest surprises than anything else, than anything in baseball, NBA. Game 7 NHL is probably the best thing. I used to have a rule in the sports book. It didn't matter what was on TV. If there's a Game 7 in the NHL, that was the lead game with sound in the sports book. I don't care if the Yankees were playing the Red Sox or the Lakers were playing the Celtics in the playoffs. It was always a Game 7 with sound because it's the best theatrical in sports game, period. Even if you don't like hockey, there's always something that happens in a Game 7 in the playoffs.
All right,
it's so because anything can change every given second. Yes. I mean, as a guy who grew up around DC, I'm not a Caps fan year round now, but when they're in the playoffs, I'm like driving the bandwagon. I love it. I mean, playoff. Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, it's the same with the Wizards, but they're never in the playoffs. But the Game 7 in the NHL is, I mean, you can't turn away. It's
no disrespect to the World Series or NBA Finals or College World Series, and there's no Game 7 in the Little League World Series. That'd be kind of fun if there was, but I'm sorry, NHL playoffs, best Game 7s.
Total goals scored over under is 5 between the Islanders and the Lightning tonight, and the Lightning are at -1.5 in the spread. What are you looking at there?
I think we have an over game. We might see more goals in this Game 7 than we will see runs scored in both College World Series games.
Oh, combined?
Combined. I mean, that's how I think the College World Series, I think they're going to be snooze fest. Would not be shocked if you see a 2-0, 2-1 games. I would be totally blown away. I think the total Vanderbilt game total is 9 and Mississippi State total is 8.5. Both of them dead unders tonight in the College World Series.
Okay. Pass that along to our money hungry bettors. All right. There you go. Okay.
And the Cubs will throw another no-hitter today. Put that on there as a part.
I was about to ask you about that. How'd you celebrate, number one, and do they do it again tonight?
Let's see. I took my medicine and fell asleep in the 6th inning, and I woke up and the no-hitter was over. That's how I celebrated last night.
And they were, and when the no-hitter was over is when they were just starting the Virginia-Texas game last night in Omaha.
Pretty much, yeah. I didn't even know. Like I said, I was watching it, and I'm watching the game. Like, there's no way Davies is going to throw a no-hitter, and there's no way Davies is going to see the 7th inning. So I was playing head tennis on the couch, and the next thing I know, I woke up and every sporting event was over, and I'm like, looked at my phone. I'm like, no hitter? How's that possible? I think I saw 5 walks before I fell asleep. So 8 walks in the game. That's pretty ridiculous.
Did you know the bullpen guys didn't know?
Craig, didn't know.
You know, Kimbrel was dead honest. He didn't know that a no hitter was going on and that he finished a no hitter. I don't know how it's possible, but he did not know.
Kimball said this morning, I was listening to Chicago radio just because I wanted to hear what they were saying, and Kimball said this morning in the Chicago radio that he said no one knew in the bullpen because there was always guys on base. There was guys on second base. So he's like, when you see that and all that, you just don't realize that it was a walk. You realize maybe it was a base hit or something where there was 8 guys on base. So I totally understand it. They probably didn't know that there was a no-hitter.
It's the most no-nos in a season since 1900. Boys and girls, it's the 1800s. You have to go back that far since they threw more than 7 in the big leagues. Really.
We almost had 2 yesterday. The Red Sox Tampa Bay game was had a no, I think all the way through the 7th or 8th inning, and that one game was a 1-0 game. There was a wild pitch or something. That was weird.
During the no hitter, it was scoreless, and they pulled Pivetta. It was the right move. I was watching that at the time. Actually,
I agree it was the right move.
Yeah, Pavetta's pitch count was getting up. There's no way even if he kept that thing going, he wasn't going to finish. So they took him out at the right time and then lost anyway.
So that's what they did with Davies. He was at 94 through 6. He wasn't going to be able to finish it. Had DeGrom, has he ever thrown a no-hitter?
Don't believe so.
No, I don't think so because he can't.
There's your prop bet.
Well, everyone will bet the no because he's always out by the 5th inning because his shoulder hits, hangnail, turf toe, migraine. He's drank too much milk. I mean,
he'll throw one. He's going to throw one at some point. You know,
I don't think he will because he's just not a longevity pitcher. He's not that's going to go out there and throw 100 or 105 pitches in a game. They'll pull him. Nope, I don't see him throwing one this year.
Okay, well, that's fair. I mean, guy strikes out 15 guys a game. Your pitch count runs up quick. So, all right, we'll give you that. I'll bet 100 that he does on myself.
100 pesos? I know you're cheap.
100 pesos, absolutely. We're going to let you run on that note, my friend. Have a wonderful weekend. Hope your AC's working. It's summer in Vegas.
Yeah, my cat behind me wants to say hi.
I was about to say.
He just jumped. He's giving you guys the moon. He's like here.
What's his name?
That's my fat cat, Harry.
Harry the cat.
His name is Harry Carey Esparza.
And what's the skinny cat?
The skinny cat's Ollie.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's fat Harry Carey.
All right. I like it.
Does he drink like Harry?
No, but he eats like I've seen Harry Carey. I used to see him all the time after games drinking old style, and he would eat a whole large pizza by himself after a game. I've never seen an old man power a pizza like I used to see Harry Carey. But so yes, I guess he does, but he doesn't drink like Harry Carey. No one drinks like Harry. By the 7th inning, Harry Carey was hammered already.
Well, what's his name? Did in Major League? Bob Uecker.
Bob Uecker.
Yeah.
Nice guy. Met him many times.
I've heard that. Smoke played in Milwaukee last year, so he's a great guy.
Him and Dan Plesac used to come to MGM and play the horses all the time.
You know everybody. We got to get you to set us up with some of these guests one day. We'll send a check in the mail. Have a great weekend.
Take it easy, guys.
There you go, Raphael Esparza, mybookie.ag. Time for a timeout. National anthem. Hey, you want to hear some fun golf stories that have to do with Steve Spurrier, George Rogers, and other? Meredith Taylor, she might be able to tell some of those on the other side of this break on the JB and Goldwater Show, driven by Stokes Volkswagen.
Mike Morgan here for Gamecock Traditions. Baseball is going strong. You'll want to look sharp when you cheer on your Gamecocks. Under Armour, New Era, sideline hats, all with interlocking SC Baseball logo. 18 styles of $10 tees exclusively at Gamecock Traditions. Get on that email list by going to the bottom of the page, enter your email, and always be the first to know about new items as they arrive. You can also add a little Gamecock flair with house signs, garden flags, interior and yard decorations, only at one place, Gamecock Traditions.
At Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum, families walk in the footsteps of our nation's heroes, the brave ones who risked their lives to defend our way of life. Home to the aircraft carrier USS Yorktown, USS Laffey, and the USS Clamagore, there's more than 1 million square feet of exhibit space to roam. White Glove certified, we have several new health safety measures in place to enhance the visitor experience. Come for the day and leave feeling inspired. One of the most impressive museums in the country, located right here in Mount Pleasant. Visit patriotspoint.org for more. We'll see you soon.
Bourbon and whiskey drinkers of Charleston. Paddock and Whiskey on James Island and the Terrace Shopping Center on Maybank is your home for the finest and rarest bourbon and whiskey drinks in the Lowcountry. This is where I hang out. Go meet my friends Reed and Chris and try one of their exclusive barrel pick bourbons. They have the largest private barrel collection in the state, and let their knowledgeable staff recommend your next pour. PaddockandWhiskey.com. Let not your heart be troubled. Paddock and Whiskey is here for your next double. We're all friends around here. Paddock and Whiskey, proud partners of the JB and Goldwater Show.
This is Scott Glaze, head golf professional at the Links at Stono Ferry, located on the outskirts of Charleston, South Carolina. I'm inviting you to tee it up on one of the most scenic and challenging courses in the Lowcountry. Our back nine is highlighted with 3 holes that border the Intercoastal Waterway. Visit stonoferrygolf.com to book tee times and discover all that Stono Ferry has to offer. The Links at Stono Ferry is a former South Carolina Golf Course of the Year and is also home to the College of Charleston men's and women's golf teams. Come see us. We would love to have you. stonoferrygolf.com.
Hi, I'm Chris Houff, Public Information Officer at the Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum. We're home of the mighty USS Yorktown, USS Laffey, Flamagore, and Vietnam experience. And we're a proud partner of the JB and Goldwater Show. We invite you and your family to come see us and enjoy a day on Charleston Harbor. Visit patriotspoint.org for more information. And now, it is my honor to present the National Anthem.
JB Goldwater Show. Live, loud, and online.
Final hour of the work week. Welcome back to the JB and Goldwater Show, driven by Stokes Volkswagen, stokesvw.com. You can download the JB and Goldwater app, and that is where you can watch and listen to our program daily in its entirety between 12 and 2 o'clock. And always go back and check us out. If you happen to miss anything, make sure you're following us across all social media platforms at JB and Goldwater, individually, both at Sports Media JB and at Darren Goldwater. Thanks to Raphael Esparza in Vegas, coming up in about 25 minutes. That is where we will find Skylar Meade. He's recruiting. He's the pitching coach of the Gamecocks, so we'll kind of recap some things with Carolina baseball, some news today on that front. If you missed it, Mark Kingston has been extended for a couple of more seasons, keeping him in Columbia through at least 2025. But we'll talk to Skylar about the actual team stuff, and then also the College World Series, which is set to go in Omaha in under an hour. But first, our coolest guest of the afternoon, one of the wonderful people that we know, one of the greatest folks I know, that's for sure, Meredith Taylor, former golf star at the University of South Carolina. And she does have a day job, but as many may have noticed, she's heavily involved in athletics always. And one of those ways is with the George Rogers Foundation. Of course, it is athletics, but it's also about getting kids into college. The foundation, and I'll let Meredith explain more in a second, is for those who are going to be first-generation college students like George Rogers was. They raise the funds to help you get there and to help you pay for it so you're not in debt for pretty much the rest of your life, like many of us will be, amongst other things. This weekend, it's a very important weekend leading into Monday. They've got the foundation dinner coming up. They've got the golf tournament. And she's a board member, and so she knows way more than we do, and that's why she's here to have some fun with it. How are you, sweet Meredith?
I'm great. Happy Friday.
No kidding. Starting next Friday, Darren and I are on vacation.
Good for y'all.
The following week. So we're going to be partying it up with our children.
Yeah.
Summer vacay with the kids.
Bring on the milk and the animal crackers, man.
Yeah. We're going up to our family's mountain house up in North Carolina. So we're going to go up there and get into some trouble. Matter of fact, for those who don't know, free plug for this place. Headed towards Cherokee, coming out of Maggie Valley and headed towards Cherokee. And it's only open March through October. You can go see Santa Claus at Santa Land. You can't go in December. He's back at the North Pole, but this is his summer home.
Oh, I see.
He comes down to the mountains of North Carolina for the summer. You can go ride rides. You can feed the reindeer. You can do a bunch of stuff. Isn't that cool?
This is good to know.
Didn't know.
I got a lot of nieces and nephews. I might have to put that on the list.
Only $23.95 to get in
per kid.
Yeah, unless they're not 2 and under 2, which means what? One.
No, it means that however old they are, if they're short, they're under 2.
It might work.
yeah.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, my kids certainly are under 2, just so we all are clear on that. All right, Meredith. Wink. So we've got the golf tournament coming up on Monday.
Yes.
I think 10 o'clock start. Now, are you playing? You're playing.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. You're going to kick everybody's ass. All right. But the dinner is, let me make sure that I'm correct, 6 o'clock Sunday night.
Yes, and it's sold out. The dinner is sold out. I think there may be 2 teams still available for the golf tournament, but the dinner is sold out because it's going to be a really special event. It's sold out pretty quickly.
This is all in Atlanta or Marietta, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So, and Mike Yuva will basically
he's moderating the Q&A.
Moderate. I couldn't think of that word earlier.
I got you, JB.
That's why smarter people than like y'all are here.
I got you.
So he'll moderate that.
Yes,
There's
it's 10 plus Heismans.
Amazing.
So it'll be George Rogers, Herschel Walker, Johnny Rogers, Coach Steve Spurrier, Johnny Manziel, Archie Griffin, Mike Rozier, Marcus Allen, Tony Dorsett. It's gonna be incredible. I'm happy I'm gonna be in the room because the stories in the Q&A are gonna be just something that I'll remember forever. I think it's some of the greatest college football players of all time.
And this, that, and the other. Yeah, no, I agree. So how many? First of all, do you know who's in your foursome?
I don't know everybody. The person who's running it, Michelle Beagle, who's the chair of our George Rogers Foundation. I told her, I was like, just put me with whoever. I'm not picky, and she's like, oh, don't worry, I'm going to put you with some really good golfers because I know you're very competitive. And so it's very much like, we were going to talk about Steve Spurrier. I 100% agree with him. Like, if we're going to play, like, let's play. I want to win. That competitiveness doesn't stop when you graduate. So if we're teeing it up, I'm trying to win.
Dude, that's what I tell my daughter. We learned to get a pickup sticks game when we were down in Florida, and
yes.
she was trying to cheat. And she knows me well enough to know that when we play putt-putt, you're going to lose.
That's right.
When you beat me, when you earned that honor, it'll be a great day.
I tell that to my nephew all the time. You got to earn it.
Yes.
That's
I agree.
Right.
So real quick, I'll send you a picture, Meredith. But she's my cousin, but she's really like a niece. She's 13. This weekend handed down a true real set of clubs for my 2-year-olds, like that will fit them for the next few years, growing up.
Right.
Real bag, you put it down, the legs come out. It's got the driver, the putter, the 7.
Yes.
Those are the only 3 clubs that are actually in there, believe it or not. But that's all they really
I know
need.
exactly what you're talking about. I bought that for my nephew when he was like 2. I'm like, we're getting it started early.
Yep.
With the 3 clubs. I get it.
So I'm going to forget Glaze. I need you to teach them how to play some golf. Here's my goal. Like those are my 2 little retirement funds.
Hey, let's go. Scholarships.
I'm going to have, and Darren, you're welcome to hop in this, this little idea of mine if you'd like. I'm going to have Debbie Antonelli teach them how to play basketball.
There we go.
And then we're going to have Meredith teach them how to play golf.
Yes.
And
I love this plan
because, as you know, so you're a golfer. You're not a female golfer. You're a golfer.
Thank you for that.
Golf can take you the rest of your life.
Yes.
Yeah. I've learned that.
And let me tell you this. I tell this to young girls that I mentor all the time. I don't care if you play SEC D1 like I did. You can get a full ride to a school and then use it in business. And let me tell you something. Yeah. If you are a female that can play golf at a decent level, you can move up the ranks when it comes to, I want to play. If you want to play in a golf tournament in any field, really, whether you're an attorney or a doctor, or there's going to be golf tournaments that you get invited to because you can play golf. So my point is that I don't care if you make it to D1 SEC like I did. I want you to play golf. You can play it for a lifetime. You can use it in the business world. And you can play with your family. Like I play with my nephew who's, he's going to be a great golfer because he's been hanging around me so long. And he's, you know what I mean? Like I'm going to fix his swing and I'm going to make it perfectly on plane and who knows where he takes it. But my point is like, it's a game that is for a lifetime. So I try to encourage every girl to at least pick it up. You don't have to play college golf, but it's a sport that's going to be awesome for you moving forward. Like I play in so many charity golf events and meet so many people and network. And so it's an amazing sport.
Yeah, it is. It is, especially when you know what the hell you're doing out there.
That's right. And you get to play from the ladies' tees, and you can hit it 270. That helps out too.
But that's a good point. If you can hit it 270 from the ladies' tees, you're
the
dancing.
ladies' tees. Yeah, and you get invited to all the charity events and scrambles.
You spend a lot of time on the dance floor if you're hitting it 270 from the ladies' tees. All right, so let's talk about this weekend. So, by the way, I was looking at the dinner. Who's going to be at the dinner? And
yes,
Rogers. You mentioned a lot of them: George Rogers, Johnny Rogers, Walker, Spurrier, Manziel, Griffin,
yes,
Mike Rozier, Marcus Allen, Tony Dorsett, and then I said, "Holy cow, Eric Church! Oh, Eric Crouch! Forget it. Forget that crap."
You got excited for a minute.
I did. Yeah, I thought. Well, when did Eric Church win a Heisman? All right. So, have you played with any of those guys?
I have not. Hopefully I will on Monday. I haven't played with him, but I've played in the same tournament as him, and I've been on the range. I've been on the range with him a bunch during college.
Talking about
Spurrier. Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I played a lot of golf with Sterling Sharp, who played with Coach Spurrier in the Chick-fil-A Classic. And so,
all right, stop there. Tell us about, because I know that Sterling, he gets after it. Like he's competitive. I mean, we knew that for the football field.
Oh yes.
But from what I've been told, you get him on the golf course, he's just like Steve. Like, nah, I'm gonna kick your ass out here today. What was that like?
Well, and he's very good, and people don't understand. He's a scratch golfer, legit.
Shannon?
Legit.
No,
Sterling.
Oh, okay.
Sterling is legit.
We're talking about the better of the two brothers.
Yeah. So I played a lot of golf with Sterling when I played in college, and then also when I was trying to play professionally and did the mini tour. I played with Sterling a lot because it just helped me, obviously, from a competitive mindset standpoint to play golf with him. But he was a master at not only the mental game, but course management wise. So I played golf with him as much as I could because he just made me better.
That is awesome.
People don't realize how good he is at golf.
How is he as a person, Sterling?
Oh, he's awesome. I love him to death. I could call him anytime and he'd say, "Hey, what do you need?" So
yeah,
he's always been great, very kind to me.
You know, I'm so happy that, especially starting with Coach Spurrier, the University of South Carolina began making real attempts to keep Sterling Sharp around, because he was, I don't want to say he was treated like garbage, but he was treated like garbage for a while. I don't know if it was intentional or not. I'm not going to go down that road, but dude, we're talking about Sterling Sharp. I mean, we've seen a lot of great wide receivers. You know who they all are, Meredith.
Right.
I'd put Sterling up there with every damn one of them.
Of course you would.
Every one of them. Probably ahead of them.
His jersey is retired for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, he was Steve, when he's out on the course, yes. I just a couple days ago, Shane did that interview with David Cloninger and Gene Sapikoff. Yes. And we've heard Shane a bunch talk about how when he plays with Steve, he's competitive. Well, what's he like out there? I mean, you've watched it, you've seen it.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite stories was when Coach Beamer said he got bumped out of Steve Spurrier's group when he was coaching here at Carolina. That's probably one of my all-time favorite stories. And I love that he told that at like his initial press conference was, somebody asked him about Coach Spurrier and he said, well, I think it was media days. They used to do golf tournaments for the media and all the coaches would get paired up with somebody in the media.
Yeah.
And they put Beamer with Coach Spurrier for, I don't know how that happened because it's usually one coach with 3 media members, but he said after a couple holes, he realized he, wasn't very good at golf. So he's like, yeah, you head on back to the next group.
F troop.
The F troop. Cause we're trying to win up here.
Yeah. That was apparently, I think that group was Haney, Jay, and Mike Morgan.
I love Jay Phillips.
So, I mean, you could, if you know those guys at all.
Right. I do.
That's a debacle.
Great group
waiting to happen.
But most people are
group, but a good group.
Right. And most people are, when they go to a charity event and they're not the best golfers. They're like, it's just for a good cause. We're just here to have fun. And Spurrier and I are like, no, we're here to win.
Yeah, Steve doesn't let you like Shane. Shane was telling Cloninger and Gene that him and Frank, I guess this was maybe a month ago, they were playing. Frank and Coach Beamer or Shane, the Beamers. And Coach Spurrier and I don't know who he was playing with, somebody, and Spurrier makes you hit every shot.
Oh, yes.
They alternate, and Frank was within about an inch or two of the cup, and Shane went to pick it up. He said, "No, you better tap that one in there, Shane."
No. Yeah, we play real golf, is what he'll say. We play real golf. You gotta finish that putt.
Do you know your foursome Monday?
No, I don't. I'll find out on Sunday.
Or is there anybody that you're most interested in playing with? Like,
I'd love to play with Coach Spurrier. I think he'd love it because I get to play from the ladies' tees, and I can
win.
And we could win. Because typically when I play in a scramble and I get to play from the ladies' tees, we're looking at least birding every hole. And I'll usually at least
we're okay
because we'll have a putt for eagle on all the par fives. Like all the par fives, we've got a chance because I'm hitting driver 8-iron into the par 5, so we've got a putt at eagle on the par 5s. So we're at least making birdie on every hole. And I may or may not drive a par 4 as well. So it just depends. But I love scrambles.
Dude,
that's why I get invited to so many.
270 from the ladies' tees. I mean, you should be birdieing everything because you can putt. I know you can putt.
I can putt.
So so how about George? Is he any good?
I don't think he plays anymore just because of some of injuries, but yeah, I mean
what does he
loves
do
to
with
play.
this? Does he just drive around and laugh at everybody?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I can see that.
He loves to be around with it. He drive his golf cart, his custom South Carolina, logoed up golf cart, and drive around and watch everybody else play.
I've driven that golf cart. Did I ever tell you that?
Did you really?
So for what year is this? 2021?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How'd we get here? 4 years ago, the 2017 season, Coach Tanner got a condo in the Carolina Walk.
Yes.
For Smoke. And it was I think it was the Florida game, if I remember correctly, because we beat them. And so a bunch of us were up there before and after the game. I had to do the pregame show on ESPN, but then I walked over and hung out up there. So after the game, anyways, I kind of know who the person was. I'm not going to say their name publicly, but the person whose condo we were using for that weekend, I say Smoke was, but he allowed us to be kind of a part of it.
But we crashed and partied there.
Yeah, the rest of us kind of got to hang out there too. They had access to, because their relationship with George, and they said, George's golf cart is out there. And there was somebody else that had a motorhome, where they all are on the other side of the tracks, over right next to the Joe Morrison lot. So take George's golf cart and go on over there. And we're like, you sure about that? Yep, go ahead. So we piled on and went driving. And what we didn't realize, because traffic was being let out, Meredith, as you know, after the games, and it's a total train wreck. What we didn't realize is that full access with George Rogers' golf cart means full access.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to drive on the sidewalk? Yeah, we'll go for it. But there's people up there. They'll move. I mean,
you're good to go.
Dude, that thing, we could have driven onto the 50-yard line if we wanted to.
You probably could have.
I couldn't believe it. They're like, well, you got Big George's golf cart. You can go wherever
It's Big George's golf cart. We know what that looks like. Yes.
Dude, it was, yeah. I mean, it was, you got the little sticker there. It says all access. You literally can access any part of Columbia that you want to.
Yes, he can.
I guess that's what happens when you win a Heisman Trophy.
Yes, it does. Full access means you can go wherever you want.
That's right.
That's right.
So let's talk more about you and your role as on the board of the George Rogers Foundation. What does that mean?
Yeah, so he's asked me to speak on Sunday on behalf of the board. So I'm going to talk about the foundation, kind of give an update on everything that's been going on. The past 5 or 6 years alone, the foundation's given $250,000 in financial assistance to the first generation college students. And so just talking about that mission and his passion of this foundation, obviously, like you said, he was a first generation college student. So that's his heart and the mission of the foundation. So I'm just honored to be a part of it. He asked me a few years ago to come on the board, and I'm just very, very grateful. I don't take it for granted.
How can you donate? Can folks donate anytime they want to?
Of course they can.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go to George's Twitter, you can get to the link to his website. So if you go to @GeorgeRogers38, that's his Twitter handle.
Yeah.
You can go to the link in his bio. That'll take you to his foundation website. And absolutely, you can go donate.
George Rogers Foundation of the Carolinas.org. It's rather lengthy, but or maybe just do this. Google George Rogers Foundation.
That's right.
You also, Meredith, on this website can apply for aid.
Yes, you can.
And there are scholarship requirements, but you have to be a South Carolina or North Carolina resident, and there's a couple of other things. They don't want you to be a 2.0 student. You need to be a 3.0 student, things like that.
That's right.
Want you to work a little bit to get some money. But when George talks about I know that you and George have a very personal relationship. When he talks about how he grew up and the opportunity that he received to go to college, South Carolina,
right,
play football, do what he did. What does that mean to him?
Yeah, and he talks about Coach Carlin being like a father figure to him. Meant so much to him and his journey to get to South Carolina. And it means the world to him. It gave him the platform to show off his insane athletic ability. And, I could rattle off all the things that he's done on the field and won Super Bowl and, NFL Offensive Player of the Year and Pro Bowls and things of that nature. But he's really a great man off the field. And this foundation is his heart and what he's most passionate about. And it's an honor to serve alongside of him and helping with that mission of giving assistance to these first generation college students.
Meredith Taylor joining us, former star golfer at South Carolina, but always a star in life. That is. How much time does George get to spend around like the current team and Coach Beamer and things like that? I know.
Yeah, absolutely. And Coach Beamer has done a great job. And you've seen this. He has brought in so many Lettermen in the past month. It's incredible. And so the buzz of all the former Lettermen just feeling so appreciated by the current coaching staff. And you've got guys like Patrick DeMarco back in the program. And you've got Shaq. You've got
Kimry.
I mean,
Byron.
You got Kimry. And Byron's on the strength staff. So you can see that thread of just really making a point to reach out to all the Lettermen and making them feel welcome when they come back.
Yeah, it's the open door policy has been really remarkable. I mean,
yes,
and that's not a shot like at Coach Muschamp or anything like that. It's just one of those things, man. Like when y'all know how it is. When you bring a family member home, basically everybody just feels at home. I mean, this whole welcome home campaign, I don't think it's just a hashtag.
It's legit. It's legit.
Yeah, I mean, I Darren, I think I told you when I got back from Columbia a couple of weeks ago, I went up, for the regional, Meredith, and Pat showed me around the facility and just saw so many people I haven't seen in a while. I mean, I could literally rattle off names after name after name. And I remember coming home and I told my wife and I mentioned to Darren some other people. I literally truly felt home. Right. And I live in Charleston and I know this is my home, but I was like, it just feels good up here right now. You lose a game and maybe feelings change. I don't know how it works.
Of course, but he's really made it's been intentional to create that atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I think he's really winning in that category. Obviously, the season hasn't started and everybody's happy, but to have that as your atmosphere from the get, it's really fired up not only the fan base, but the Letterman Association, because I serve on that board as well. And everybody knows that that's a key thing with Coach Beamer is to make sure everyone feels welcome and they can come back anytime they want to. Anytime they're in town, he expects you to come by. And so that is a little bit different than previous years.
Has the Letterman's Association grown since Shane got hired?
Has it? Yes.
Wow.
I mean, I don't have the exact numbers, but exponentially. Yes.
Really?
Mhm.
Is that more or all football related, or is that
No, it's not all football related. I think to the credit of that board, it's really been a great push and campaign to grow the Letterman Association in general, and then also adding in Coach Bieber coming in. So we already had the momentum of adding more Letterman to the association, and then Coach Beamer, I mean, it's exponentially grown.
There's an overall positive vibe. I mean,
yes.
However many times he tweets "Welcome home," whether or not it means something every time, but there's still something consistently positive and a very coordinated message, and in a good way, but a very
and I think
message that he has been pushing out.
Yes, and I think it makes a difference when it's the job he wanted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
truly
mean,
wanted.
It really, really, truly wanted was his dream job, and you feel that when you enter the building, you just do.
Mm-hmm.
There's no when you talk. We've talked to him a couple of times, and again, you're right. When you enter the building up there, I'll tell you what. I haven't even told this story. What really impressed me, and I know we got to run here, so we got to get to Skylar. But when I walked in, and Pat took me on a tour of every inch of the place. Talked to a lot of the coaches and things like that. Got to say hello to I have never met in my life any of those basically, GAs or offensive assistants, analysts, things like that. Don't know who a lot of them are. They brought them in from a bunch of different places. There's nothing significant about me. They had no idea who I was. Doesn't matter. I was just another guy taking a tour, right?
Right.
I walked through that door, and I was with Pat, so maybe that somehow mattered. Every one of them stood up out of their chairs from their desk, walked over, shook my hand, introduced themselves, first name, last name. Nice to see you. Welcome. If we can do anything for you, let me know. And I'm like, where the hell did this come from? You know what I mean? It was a very, and I don't, from what I've understood, that has kind of come from the top down with Shane. Hey, in this building, we're going to treat everybody like, they matter as much as the next guy, like the top quarterback recruit or whatever.
As it should be.
That was very telling to me very, very quickly. And I haven't said that publicly, but I was blown away. I mean, it was one of those
It's impressive. It really is impressive.
Yeah. It took the words from you, quickly. I mean, it was really neat. All right. Well, on that note, we got to let you run, but you're going to go over there. You're going to hit them straight.
That's the plan.
Put those things right in. I know you'll be paying attention to the LPGA this weekend.
Yes. Great championship.
Great one going on, no doubt. Right there in Atlanta.
That's right.
Are you going to go over and watch them, or what are you doing?
I mean, I might. I'm going to have to, right? I'll be in Atlanta.
The Atlanta Athletic Club, man.
Got to go see some old friends.
Yeah, exactly. I know. When we were doing the Women's Open a couple years ago, Darren, I was walking around the course. She was like, Nelly, hey, what's up, girl? Hey, Lexi. Nice to see you. Drinks later. Just yelling at all these people. I was like, how do you know everybody?
These are my people.
That's what happens when you play golf like Meredith does. Have a blast. I hope you get paired with Coach Spurrier or Eric Eric Crouch.
You're right.
No, if anything, I hope you play with Spurrier and like Johnny Manziel.
Wouldn't that be a group?
Holy moly.
I would just FaceTime you the whole time just to experience it.
Just leave the phone just like plugged onto the cart somehow. So that
I'll just magnetic. Yeah. Put it up there and let you in on the fun.
Yep. Dude, please do that. I would just to be a fly on the phone.
That's right. That's right.
That one. Thank you, Meredith. Have so much fun. We really, it's great to catch up with you. We'll have you back here soon and we'll talk some more golf and whatever the hell we want to talk about.
That sounds like a plan. Y'all have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too. There you go. Meredith Taylor. What a diamond. Former golfer at Carolina, on the board of the George Rogers Foundation. Big weekend for them. All right. Final timeout right now. When we return, Skylar Meade, pitching coach of the Gamecocks, joins us on the JB and Goldwater show driven by Stokes Volkswagen.
This is Mike Mazzell for Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate Road with exciting news. It's springtime and we're playing ball. Most dealerships don't have any inventory, but at Stokes Volkswagen we do. So we're playing ball on every new Volkswagen in stock. Every new Volkswagen available with zero down. Qualified buyers can sign and drive with interest-free financing for 60 months. Remember, Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate Road is the fastest, easiest way to sell your car and get the most money for your trade. Plus, we'll take any trade in any condition, paid off or not. Is your credit in a slump?
Strike two.
If you've got $500 down and you make at least $2,000 per month, our lenders can get you approved. So if you want to strike out, that's okay. But if you want to hit a home run and save on a new Volkswagen, come see us today at Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate Road or StokesVW.com.
$1,666 per month per $1,000 borrowed for 60 months at 0% APR with zero down. Plus tax tag. Includes $499.50 administration fee. Subject to DCI credit approval. Expires month end.
Peace and love at Stokes Speed Up.
Wando Power Equipment, the trusted home of Hustler zero-turn residential and commercial mowers. There is nobody more trusted in South Carolina than our friends from Wando Power Equipment. They've been providing elite commercial and residential service for over 30 years. Landscape Services have turned to their selection of Hustler zero-turn mowers like the Raptor. Bigger, stronger, faster, and the most durable Raptor Hustler has ever designed. Located on Daniel Island and online at wandopower.com. Wando Power Equipment, owned by the Price family, the home of Hustler zero-turn mowers, rentals, service, and specializing in family and friendship.
Shrimping season's back. That means local caught shrimp. That's right. Local caught shrimp back on the menu at the Dog and Duck. All three locations, Bell Hall, Park West, and Clements Ferry Road, now featuring once again local caught hand-breaded shrimp, plus other daily specials like the Game Day Burger every Wednesday, Rib Night on Friday, rotating taps all the time, and all the TVs you can possibly imagine for whatever you want to watch. The Dog and Duck in Bell Hall, Park West, and on Clements Ferry Road. Okay, what's going on today, huh? Anything to talk about?
All right, greetings and a good Monday afternoon. Greetings and a good Tuesday afternoon. Greetings and a good Wednesday afternoon, and welcome aboard. All right, greetings and a good Thursday afternoon. Greetings and a good Friday afternoon, and welcome aboard. Okay, final segment of the work week. Welcome back. The EJB and Goldwater Show, driven by Stokes Volkswagen. It is also Power Hour, at which is brought to you by and powered by Wando Power Equipment. If you need anything for the outdoors, you know where to get it. Wando Power. They come from everywhere, even Piedmont, South Carolina. Somebody down here not too long ago, get him. I think it was a big old zero-turn mower. So how about that? All right, before we get Skylar in here, we got some pretty big news from Omaha. It appears NC State is dealing with COVID issues. And they are 25 minutes from first pitch this afternoon against Vanderbilt. And the report is from Pack Pride's Corey Smith and Darren McFarland. This is that looks like first or second baseman JT Jarrett is not with the
son.
That is
the
son.
Coach.
That's right. Is not with the team. And top reliever Evan Justice, quote, also likely not available this weekend. As to this point, at least I haven't seen it, the Wolfpack have not officially confirmed the COVID issues or which players will be out. But those are the reports that are surfacing as they are set to play. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that. Would not be good.
Let me get this in. Just sent something brand new, hot off the presses from Stokes Volkswagen out of Ashley Phosphate Road. Brand new 2022 Taos, Taos. I'm going to assume it's a Tao. Bold styling, turbocharged engine, Volkswagen digital cockpit. It's the compact SUV that checks all the boxes. The 2022 Taos delivers on what you're looking for and then some. It's smart, versatile, and ready for the road. So test drive a Tao at Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate today.
Perfect. With all of that being said, Skylar Meade is probably saying, dude, what the hell is going on here? South Carolina's pitching coach has been kind enough to join us from the road on a Friday afternoon. What's up, man?
I thought you were talking about, I thought it was my intro, smart, versatile, and on the road. I thought you guys were talking about me.
We were.
That was my intro.
We were.
That is well, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it is your intro, as a matter of fact. How are you, my man? Where are you?
Well, I am in the call it the greater Atlanta area, running around field to field. I got a little watching a Gamecock commit play at one field, and then I'm going to run back to another to watch like 7 guys at once, and then I'll watch some more and watch some more and watch some more. So I think I'm in Atlanta through the end of the weekend, and maybe back to campus for a day, and then back out and just run around, pound those miles. I keep looking at that oil life on the car going lower and lower. So
well,
get that oil changed soon enough.
Yeah, that's who do you call for that? Does Coach Tanner change the oil for you?
Oh yeah, that's right up Coach Tanner's alley. I'm sure the responses to that request would be amazing. Probably not appropriate for radio.
No, they more than likely wouldn't be. But it would be funny if you asked him, though. If you do ask him, record that for us and pop it over in a text so I can put it out on social media. Or I'll give it to Darren.
I'll make sure to do that.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd love that. So, we'll get to what's going on in Omaha here in just a minute. Skylar, I know that you've been recruiting, worrying about your program, but also I'm quite sure you're aware of what's happening at TD Ameritrade, where your Gamecocks are going to be next year. By the way, I just want to let you know, don't make any plans next June. Y'all will be in Omaha. We're making the plans for you. But now that the dust is settled a little bit, obviously I know you're very, very, very proud of your pitching staff and what they accomplished this year. But now that things have kind of settled in and you've been able to look back on things, make sense of things, how do you kind of assess the 2021 South Carolina baseball season here? What about 2 weeks or so since the season ended?
Well, I think like any year, I mean, only one team wins their last game, and they're really the only team that's totally happy or satisfied. So, I think there's elements of this year that were great steps for what we needed to do as a program. I mean, maybe this wasn't something broadcasted to the masses, but, we thought we had a team that was capable of being a host and being a top 15, team this year. And we did that. Unfortunately, the regional didn't pan out how we wanted. We just were a play or a swing away from, having the ability to continue to play, but it didn't happen. And so you have to live with that too and assess why that is and obviously continue to move forward. But there are certainly things to be proud of. There's many players to be very proud of. And I think some of them will, reap the benefits in the draft coming up. Will Sanders is going to reap the benefits to wear the Team USA uniform. We've had multiple guys be All-American. So there's a lot of aspects to be proud of, but the reason we're working so hard on the road is it's all about players. It's all about great players, and we just got to keep pounding the pavement and make sure we have more than the next team.
Yeah, Will Sanders, he is – what a player he is. I think he's the first young man that wears the garnet black of South Carolina to be on the collegiate national team. I want to say since Tyler Johnson, so that's probably been 5 or 6 years ago. How's that going for him? What about this opportunity for Will Sanders? How will that help his career?
Well, I just think the exposure, just the feeling that he's going to have from that, the confidence you hope that you derive, which not that he's lacking in any sort of confidence by any stretch, but you're going to get to be, at least at this point, considered one of the 44 best players in the country. Out of 2 different classes. And so I think that's certainly an impressive thing. My hope for him is he gets out there and gets to compete for those couple weeks that they'll, go to battle there with Team USA. And I know it's a little bit of a unique setup this year just because of some of the COVID stuff, but I'm just really proud of him and obviously what he's done. And, I really think Jack Mahoney would have been another guy that would have been a Team USA guy had he unfortunately not gotten hurt, and would have loved to have had 2 guys on there, but I'm sure that Will is going to represent us quite well.
What about the rest of your guys, Skylar? I know that there's dudes littered across the country. I think there's some up in the Cape, and I know there's some that are still down here in the CPL and things like that, playing summer baseball. I guess I'm going to ask this question a little bit more specific to your pitching staff. They just got through an entire spring season, so.
The timely internet hit right there on JB. But we're kind of where he was going, right? Following the Team USA stuff, and then kind of leading into, I guess, a little bit more into what the team could look like.
Yeah, I know we got cut out there a little bit, but here's what I will tell you. I think at least where it was going with our pitchers. I mean, we do have some guys up in the summer leagues. We got multiple guys in the Cape, both signees and then returning players. We got a couple guys that are trying to do some training, just whether it's from, maybe an amount of innings, or maybe there's some guys that are working on some specific things from a physical standpoint. We have some guys doing that. And, I think it's a good combination. It's hard in this day and age to have everybody out playing. Sometimes that's not maybe the best thing for their development. But, from a pitcher standpoint, you accompany that with the guys that are incoming, from the high school ranks. I feel really good about where we will be. I think there's going to be some strong learning for these guys in the fall still on, what it takes to compete at the SEC level, to compete at the South Carolina level. But I think it's going to end up being a pretty good pitching staff come the turn of 2022.
Skylar Meade, pitching coach of the Gamecocks, 145 on this Friday afternoon. He's out on the road recruiting. I know it's really hard, man, to have conversations like this because you just don't truly know. But the draft is coming in July, and it's a little bit different. It's backed up. Generally, it's a little bit sooner than that. What do you and Mark and Stewart and y'all's staff at South Carolina, what are you expecting from the draft? There's a bunch of names who are on the board, obviously, from the pitching staff perspective and then or standpoint, and then also a bunch of your position guys like Wes Clark and Brady Allen and others. Do you have any expectations at this point? Some of the whispers you're hearing about some of your young men, where do you stand with the draft only a couple of weeks away?
Well, I think we have some guys that you can feel pretty certain are going to get drafted well and are going to have the opportunity to sign, which we're more than happy for them to do. That's why we have good players come to South Carolina, so they can go out and have a chance to, do what they want professionally. I think there are going to be some guys that you're going to be very intrigued when the draft comes around and what teams end up doing or what they're willing to pay those guys or not pay those guys to jump into the professional ranks. Obviously, we try to make as educated guesses as possible between, speaking to, people in the know, speaking to the players, speaking to, power players at the, with different organizations. I think I'll give you an example. Of course, we know, we feel very strong that, Thomas Farr is a guy who, is pretty well thought of, performed during the year, showcased a lot of things from velocity and stuff standpoint people need to see. We know that Thomas is going to go out and play professional baseball, and we're juiced up for him. There's a couple other guys that Major League Baseball will make the decision, right? So if they were drafted in a level that is where they need to go, then we will give them an honest deal and say, hey, listen, we're so happy for you, and get out there and go after it. If they don't get drafted where they want and they want to come back and give it another run here with the Gamecocks, then we're going to be more than willing to do that too. So, I think the part about Major League Baseball, the draft is just so unique, is it's not purely based upon talent. There's so many factors that go in. You watch the NFL draft or NBA, it's basically like, like this player, they deem them in the order they go. Whereas Major League Baseball is not that way, because you got factors of high school kids that want to go to college, kids that don't want to go to college, seniors in the draft that are money savers, sophomores and juniors in college that have good leverage, don't have good leverage. There's just so many weird factors that go into it. So it is such a crapshoot. The thing we are aware of, we're definitely going to lose some guys. And that's why we hopefully have replenished them with a good class coming in 21.
What are you hearing out there, Skylar? I'm not asking you to specifically name recruits. I know that's against the rules, at least those that are not already signed to come to South Carolina. But you host a regional this year. Gamecocks are on the map, have been on the map for years, but back in the postseason, rightfully where you belong. When you talk to these families, these young men, what are they saying about Gamecock baseball?
Well, I think there's a lot of juice out there about what we got going. A lot of people saw us a lot this year. We had some exciting moments. We had a lot of exciting players. There's a lot of, young pitchers that I talked to that they, they saw our guys and, are like, man, you guys got like 6 dudes that throw 96 or 97. That's awesome. Like, guys get fired up about that stuff. I mean, look, that's just what it is. These kids love to see the numbers. And so, yeah, I mean, there is a lot of excitement. I thought, and I know we've talked about this on this show many times, I felt like from a fan base perspective, there was a renewed excitement. We've had some good things happen in our short time here, and, hopefully that continues for a long, long time. But I thought that the fan base, this was a great team to watch. There was an exciting group to see compete. So I think there's a lot of positive out there, and we're definitely feeling that out here, while we recruit with the kids that we speak to.
Skylar, final question about your guys. I do want to talk to you about Omaha, and we'll let you go back to, that job that actually pays you for your work as the pitching coach at South Carolina. What about the transfer portal? I mean, do you still have your eyes on the portal? I say you, the staff collectively, and how has that changed your balance in recruiting kids to Columbia? Because only a few years ago, it wasn't the Wild West transfers. You can just go get a guy to come in and play, right? You had to sign high school kids. Transfers had to sit out. That's changed, obviously. So how has that kind of balanced things out for you, or has it balanced things out? And are you still looking in the transfer portal potentially for players?
I mean, I think you always have to have your eyes and ears open. So of course we're going to, always be evaluating. That is the unique situation that's out there with that. And at the same time, you have to do your job. And this isn't just a South Carolina thing. It's across the board. You got to make sure that the players that you have that are within your program, understand how they're going to get better, how important they are in the program, so that you retain them. I mean, it is a new world that we're entering, in my opinion. And so, yeah, there's a lot of layers to that. I think that, you're going to find that many types of guys that enter that portal too, whether it's guys who are at a smaller school and just want an opportunity at a big school, whether it's a big school guy that maybe didn't have a fit, maybe it's a guy at another division that has, performed incredibly well, and then they want to have a chance to showcase themselves at a higher level, the Division I level, a Power 5 level, whatever it may be. So, and I think it's pretty known. We've got in there and gotten a couple, and we'll always keep our eyes and ears open for more. But it's definitely a new world, and I've talked about this with a lot of coaches on the road. It's interesting for all of us, to say the least.
Oh, there's I really honestly don't know how you do it. I mean, there's like what did we say, Darren? Like 1,800 baseball players in the transfer portal right now.
I think that was the number we were around. Skylar, you might even know better than we do.
It's over 2,000 now.
There you go.
Yeah,
oh my God,
go up, and there's still another week left, and I'm sure that it will continue to go higher and higher. But the good part for us as coaches is we're only recruiting 10 years of recruits, between your young kids, and then all the 4 or 5 ages of college, between junior college, portal, grad transfer. So it's not that much to keep up with.
No.
That's the thing that excites all of us. You know what I mean?
Nice and easy. I mean, kids are the same too. When they're 10 and when they're 20, totally the same person.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. My conversations with the 14-year-olds to the 23-year-olds, it's just the same,
That's a great point. You're recruiting 14 and 15-year-olds these days, and you got 23-year-olds on your roster. That's wow. All right, Vanderbilt, NC State, Mississippi State, Texas. That's what's left. You probably know a little bit about that field. You played 3 of them. You had a total of 9 games against the Dogs, the Doors, and the Horns. So, Skylar, here, I mentioned this earlier. Here's why I love college baseball. And this Final Four, if you will, of what's left in Omaha is probably exactly like it's supposed to be, just like every year. I know that Arkansas isn't in there, but Skylar, you can make a real argument that 3 of the top 4 teams in the country are still playing baseball. There's only 4 teams left. And then you can also make the argument that the hottest team in the country is one of the 4 teams left. That's baseball, right? You got the 3 of the best teams. You got one of the hottest teams, and they're going to go battle it out and figure out who wins this thing.
Yeah, it's there's certainly a part of you as a coach that you don't like watching it because you wish that you were there. So there's that element, but then you watch it because you want to learn and you want to see things. And for us, I think we played the entire College World Series field multiple times. So certainly have some familiarity with the group too. But yeah, I mean, look, you know, and I'll say this. I had a talk with coaches in Mississippi State after they'd gotten run ruled in the SEC tournament in multiple games. And I jokingly said to them, like, guys, do not complain. You guys are one of the best teams in the country. You're going to roll through your regional, probably your super, and heck, you'll probably win it all. And now it kind of seems like they may be on a track to do that. So it's kind of humorous in nature. But yeah, I mean, I just think that you got to have a great arm, and you got to have some bats that are clutch. And I think all those teams that are still in it, they have that. And so it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. But, you know, I think to your point, there's no teams that are flukes in this group, you know, and I think baseball tends to do that. It's hard to be fluky. You got to be consistent. You got to be performing at the right time, and you got to have some clutch in you. So I'll be intrigued to see how it all shakes out over the next 5-6 days.
It might not shake out for a little while today. It looks like the dugouts have cleared because of this COVID issue in the NC State locker room. So they're trying to get that figured out up there. But Skylar, you know, I mean, obviously y'all played Mississippi State, Texas, Vanderbilt. You know those coaches. You've recruited a lot of the players. I mean, you know them. Now you've obviously seen NC State. Do you see any similarities? Like, I mean, all those teams, specifically Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, and Texas, we know what their arms are. You faced them all year. But how about your guys as compared to their guys? Do you see similarities from the pitching staff's standpoint? I guess the question I'd be asking you then would be that your staff you had this year, is that an Omaha type pitching staff? We just gotta score some runs.
Yeah, well, and there's times where, look, baseball is obviously a multi-unit game between pitching, defense, and hitting, and you got to mirror them up at the right time. But I mean, to answer your question, yeah, without a doubt, we had an Omaha pitching staff. I mean, you know, you go down top 10. I take our top 10 pitchers over anyone in the country, and I think numbers prove a lot of that out as well. And so, yeah, it was a great group, you know, and hopefully we can mirror that or even better it as time goes on. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the part that kind of pains you because you felt really good about your group, just from that area of it. But there's things that they can do better too. You know, I mean, of all the things we did great statistically, we still, you know, we're about 70th in the country in walks per 9. I still think that's something that we can improve upon. And obviously when you strike a lot of people out, there is going to be some higher counts, going to be some walks, but I certainly did feel our staff is as good as any of those teams that are out there. There's no doubt about that.
What is it that has made these teams that are still left so special? I mean, what is it? Is it strictly talent? Is it camaraderie? Is it because they're older groups? What is it in your mind?
No, that's a great question. I mean, certainly there's a lot of pieces to it. I think you got these teams, and when I was talking about this with a couple coaches this morning, actually, they're very competitive, very competitive. They don't take plays off or pitches off, however you want to look at it. You know, I think a lot of them that are really good have older hitters who don't waste it back. They can be a nuisance with 2 strikes, but yet they can, you know, bang you out of the yard in the snap of a finger. You know, and I think NC State is obviously one that's doing that. That's the top 5, 6 in their order. They're just, I mean, an absolute nightmare, you know, but, you know, you look at what Mississippi State has in that order, Vanderbilt. I mean, Texas's guys got incredibly hot. Their pitching has been just unbelievable. And then their hitting the last 2 months has been just dynamite. So look, they're very complete teams. They're very complete teams. They do multiple things well. And the other thing is they really defend. They make great plays. They make plays you don't think that are there. And I think that's what makes some of these teams, the last 4 standing, you know. I mean, even Virginia, who got very hot, one thing they could do, they could really pitch it and defend it. And then their bats got hot and ambushed fastballs, and boom, you know, they're a team that were really 1 inning away from being in the driver's seat out there in Omaha.
I hope they get to play today. NC State now official from the College World Series. This game is in a health and safety protocol delay. So we'll have to see what comes of it. Skylar, on that note, we're going to let you get back to work, my friend. I know that you're recruiting over there in the Atlanta area. You know that you got the George Rogers golf tournament coming up on Monday. Why don't you stick around and play in that thing?
I'll tell you what, I just passed the course. You guys may know a lot better than me. Is Cobblestone a really nice course? Is that like they play big events on?
I don't know about big events, but it's a nice course.
It's a nice course.
Okay. Yeah, listen, you guys are talking to someone who hasn't played a competitive round of golf since 2017. So,
well,
between recruiting and a little back issue over the last couple of years, it's not gotten to do much golf. But I will tell you, I at least can spot a decent golf course when I drive by it.
Yeah, you'd never be able to coach for Steve Spurrier, Skylar. If you can't play golf, you can't coach for Steve Spurrier. You know that, right?
Oh, I didn't say I can't play golf. Just big.
Oh, you're one of those guys. Man, I haven't played in 4 years, and then he swipes a 75 out there in his first round in 1,500 days. Yeah, I hear you. Nice. Nice. Look, man, thank you. I really appreciate it. I hope you sign the best damn players in the country, Skylar. This time next year, I'll just be talking to you in the hotel as y'all are getting ready to go down and play at TD Ameritrade. So we're looking forward to that. Only about 365 days away. But we wish you and your family a happy 4th of July, and really appreciate everything, man.
Oh, absolutely, guys. No, thank you again for having me on, and look forward to getting on again down the road.
Oh, by the way, can you ask Coach Tanner if y'all go or when y'all go next year? My tickets get a little expensive. Can I fly with you? And then also, can y'all get me some tickets?
NC State says, remember, we're in a health and safety delay right now.
Hey, listen, I tell you what. I'll pay for your ticket and I'll save you a spot on the team plane if we're there next year. So don't you worry about that.
Oh, I'll take that bet all day. That's not even a bet. That's just a handshake agreement. Fine. Yep. See you in Omaha in my best Spurrier voice. Well, I'll see you up there in Omaha. Skylar, thanks, brother.
All right, guys. Y'all have a great day.
Yes, sir. There you go. Pitching coach of the Gamecocks, Skylar Meade. What a great way to end the week with Meredith Taylor and Skylar Meade. Two wonderful, wonderful people. Thanks to Raphael Esparza as well, Darren Goldwater, and all of you for watching and listening to our program. We'll keep our eyes on Omaha. We'll see when they're able to get on the field. We'll be back Monday at noon. We look forward to that big recruiting weekend for the Gamecocks. Keep our eyes on that. And outside of that, everybody get outside and enjoy the water somewhere and maybe an ice cold bourbon. Oh, and thanks to my man Eric Church for singing us home every week.
Always.
Darren, you're the man, brother. Have a great weekend.
You too. Enjoy it.
See y'all Monday.
All you gotta do is put a